welcome to GenFriends. I'm your host, Cheri Hudson-Passey from Carolina Girl Genealogy, and I've got a fabulous panel and special guest, so let's get right to it. I would like to welcome Melissa Barker, our archive lady. Hi, Melissa.
Hello, everybody.
So good to have you here, and we have Laura Hedgecock from Treasure Chest of Memories. Hi, Laura.
Hi, folks.
So good to have you here. And look, guys, our special guest tonight, we've got Susan and Stephen, Team Green. Right?
What's up?
Team Green from season 8 and special appearance on season 10 as well. So we are so glad to have you here to help us work through day 6. It was tough. It was
a lot of real emotions.
It was tough, and you know, as it started, and here comes Dan Earl, who is having some issues. So here he comes. We all know that we just pop in and out as we can on GenFriends. So there he is. Come on in, the other Dan.
It might just be a D and not a Dan.
It just might be a D and not a Dan. Well, let's go ahead and we'll welcome him once we can see his face. But you know, we were kind of talking about before we started recording that, well, Melissa and I were talking about the beginning seemed like not a lot. They kind of quickly said this, you know, they're here. Hi, Dan. We're so glad that you're able to get in. I know computer problems last week. Computer problems. So I'm glad that you're here. Dan Earl, our family history guy. Thanks, Dan. The other Dan. As we lovingly call him. It seemed like as they started, a lot of times we get a lot of before they've left story, more that's going on, but it seemed really quick this time.
Very rushed.
Very rushed. And the drive to the challenge, it seemed really quick, but I think it's because of all the emotion and they had to get all that in there. And so the show's only so long. And so I think maybe that's what was going on, except for Kentrell. Get up! Get out of bed! What are you doing?
Time to wake up.
Time to wake up. But you know, when John told him where they were going, did y'all see him roll his eyes?
Yes.
He knew. You could tell that he knew. This is not going to be.
I'm going to have to deal with some emotions.
Exactly. But they did say that that the text message was sent a little bit earlier than normal, and so. So it was funny when John got it, he goes, oops, I got to go wake him up. And as I was live tweeting, everybody's putting, get up.
Well, none of us think that they get going fast enough. I mean, Tia with her luggage, and you know, and we just don't think they get going fast enough.
I can't believe that luggage. It's a tiny car.
A tiny car. Well, I keep saying that by now they should have the pattern of how it fits in, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen. I think the last 2 episodes they haven't really shown that again.
Yeah,
but they really the first 4.
They made a big deal out of it. Yeah, and maybe it's not really that big of a deal, and they just made a bigger deal out of it. Just
really big luggage.
But who was on that told us they don't know where they're going, and so you want to have clothes for everything, but I'm thinking you only need your color shirt.
You wear the same shirt every day. I mean, a different one, but
and something to sleep in. But go ahead, Laura.
My observation was that the whole Kentrell being asleep and everything, that the John and his brother were interacting just supernaturally.
Yeah.
That they had already lost all that awkwardness with a stranger.
Yes.
Exactly. And so I liked seeing that.
Yeah, that was nice. That was really, really nice. And he seems so content that he's found these brothers, and he just almost said, I don't care now. I'm done. I'm happy. I've got, I've made these connections.
And
I'm done.
How quick that goes away, that, because when you meet, you are strangers, you're family, but you think that it's going to be awkward, but I mean, it's really not. At least in our case, we didn't have that awkwardness. We just hit the ground running. It was like we knew each other. So
right. Well, before we move on, I didn't even. How is all that going? Are you still connected with everybody? Are you meeting other people?
Oh yeah, no. We still talk with the family all the time. I'm going out for work to California here this week, and I'm going to see my sister and
Oh,
my dad's side, and
yeah.
my niece and nephew, and then I'm going to see my cousins on my mom's side.
Yeah.
So yeah, we still talk all the time.
That's
We've
so,
gotten together a lot.
Yeah.
that's so good. Because
We're
you
going
know,
to
you
Christmas
never
every day.
know. You never know, although I know that, they really vet everybody really well and they make sure things are going to work out, but you don't know if relationships are going to be able to hold together or,
Right.
because that's hard. So that's so good to know. I'm glad. I'm glad. And I'm sorry that I was so into getting into this show. It was so
No, for sure. That's what we're here to talk about.
Gosh, it was so emotional. They didn't seem, or else they didn't act like anybody really had too much trouble getting to the challenge. Maybe Leah and Nolan had a little bit of trouble trying to find the turnpike. Oh, and I loved Thaddeus's love bug text message to everybody. Oh my gosh, he cracks me up. He is so funny. He's so funny. So that was
They got a really sweet attitude about them. Team Red.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're so sweet. Laura, were you gonna look like you were getting ready to say something? Okay. All right. What did you guys think of the challenge?
That was neat. I thought it was neat. What about y'all? I mean,
I thought it was good too. I mean, it looked easier than it was, I think. I mean, we had two teams again, time out. Is this like history again of the show? This is 3 weeks in a row we've had teams.
I think this challenge is one of the top ones that we need to put in our book.
That's right.
We need the relative race should do for the family reunion challenges.
Yeah. We keep telling them, but they don't listen to us.
I know. But I can see this one really going over well.
I do too. What were you gonna say, Dan?
Oh, it just made me look at everything in my garage in a different light. Like how could I use this to keep a balloon afloat? Like,
So funny. And of course, Thaddeus's bagpipey thingy that he used.
His bagpipey. I love that.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the fire?
The bellow.
Yeah, the bellow.
In places where you don't live at the beach and it's 85 degrees, you have to build a fire sometimes to stay warm. And you use this.
Well, no, that's what he called it, the bagpipey thingy. That's what he called it.
Oh, I thought that was your word.
No, he called it that.
That is
That's how Laura and I don't freeze to death.
That's just Thaddeus vocabulary for her.
Yeah, that should be the other thing that we write is the Thaddeus dictionary.
Exactly. Yes. So funny. But yeah, it must have been harder than it looked, although Team Red had the advantage because they had come in first the day before. So they got to use one of the tools twice and everybody else could only use them one time. And they had things like hair dryers and the bagpipey thingy and
the leaf blower.
The leaf blower. It was
what didn't they have canned air?
Canned air.
Yes.
Yeah, and the shapes, there was a diamond, and then there was a cross, and then there was a square. The square seemed really easy. That one they got really fast, but that cross was, I think it was the hardest. They kept getting stuck.
Mm-hmm.
They kept getting stuck, and so
Thaddeus really powered through with that leaf blower, didn't he?
Yeah. They were great. I love how much fun they're having together on this race.
Yeah.
You can see that they've got such a special bond.
I think it's super cool that his mom came along.
Oh my gosh.
His adopted mother. That's amazing to have that support and
I know
the journey with them.
Yes, and I love how much as they're meeting family that they are embracing her and not treating her as we're here to meet Thaddeus and you're off to the side and they're really pulling her into the family. And I love how he's always grabbing a hold of her saying, and this is my mom. He's making it clear, who she is and how much he respects her being on the race. And then, of course, with Leah and Nolan, too, the first time that we've had the sister.
Green.
Yeah, Team Green. Yeah. So I know that's who you're rooting for. So you gotta have some Team Green support here. Yeah. So exactly. Well, since we had so much emotion, let's go ahead and start talking about who they met. And probably I don't know. It's almost like we tried to do the easier ones first. We were so excited for them and then get to the real emotional ones later because we're want to probably end up talking about them a little bit more. And so I don't even know which one to go to first. Maybe Team Green, as they met aunts, and they were sisters to the aunt that he'd met on day 5. And so he learned a little bit more about his biological mom, and they didn't even know that he'd been born. She went to the hospital, came out and said, I had a baby and I gave him up for adoption. And they were like, well, we would have kept you had we known.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's always good for the heart to hear. You know what I mean? Because I know Nolan, right? He had a great life, you know, he said.
Yeah.
But to know that, they would have took him, that's good for your heart to hear.
Oh, I'm sure. I am sure it is. I'm sure it is. And I'm sure it was good for you too when you made those connections and you learned, your story and all that. It's got to those answers, just like Dan said at the end, you no matter if the answers are good or bad, you're getting answers. And that's filling in holes. So
even he's really grown through this through the season. At first he wasn't, too emotional, kind of reserved.
Right.
And then as it's progressed, he's really opened up.
He's opened up. Yeah. It's almost like he's not afraid to open up. He was so, like you said, reserved. And I think that now he's
it's a lot. The cameras.
Well, the cameras have got to play a role in that too.
Yeah. As none of us are used to having cameras in our faces all the time. So
no.
And I can't imagine, do you ever forget that they're there?
Yeah. I mean, especially when you're dealing with so much emotion and by day 2 or 3, it's
like they're not there. You're just trying to do what you got to do, and
we were like 110% focusing on everything, and once you get used to it, and I think that's where he's at now. He's just used to it.
And I know we've had other people say too that you kind of become a little family, the team that's with you, recording everything, you become close. You have to, because you are close. Physically, as well. So you have to kind of make those bonds. So so that's really exciting. I don't know that he's going to be able to meet her. His biological mom, the sisters did say that she's doing better and that she's still working on things. So it almost sounds like there's still a few issues there, but she's doing better. So that's good to know. So we don't know if he's
it's almost like if they would just meet, it would even make her be even better.
Yeah,
I get the feeling that if they could just meet, that it would help her in so many ways too.
Right. And he's so ready for it. So I think it would be a good meeting for both of them. I don't think it would be hard. The emotions, he's not having as some of the emotions that some of the others are having. And so I think it would be very special for her if she's in a place where she can do that. And she might not want to do that on camera, who knows, so
I think if someone is struggling, and I don't know whether she's struggling physically or emotionally, obviously, but it might be good not to put that pressure on her if it is something that's going to make her anxious, and it might just be healthier not
to meet later off camera.
They he can come on GenFriends and
tell us all about it, right? Yeah, tell us all about it. That would be so fun. Where do you guys want to go to next?
How about Team Red?
Team Red, of course. Yes. I mean, that was so cute as Thaddeus walks up and when she said, my name is Mary, of course, he knew exactly what it was. Why? Because he'd seen that family chart, Yay for family history and charts, right?
He's like, I know you.
Yeah. And they were so sweet. She was so sweet. All that love, the love was coming through, you could just feel it. And
they had me choking up. I was crying.
It was a real, 2 or 3 bucks of Kleenex night. On day 6. It really was. And she was so sweet. And she says, I've been looking for you since you were 9 months old. Oh, that's got to feel good for him too, to know that somebody was looking. Yeah, exactly. So who wants to tell us who? She says, I've got somebody else that I want you to meet.
A brother.
I know. Can you
I
imagine?
know. Now they look just alike.
Oh wow, I know. It
Their
was like,
mannerisms were the same. The way they
I
sit
know
was the same. The way
everything.
They were
hands.
freaking each other out.
That was so amazing. A little brother, but it was like a little mini me. It's just
Mhm.
But he's
That's
not much
crazy
younger.
thing
He's
about
what is
genetics.
the age difference is how much? A year or two, right?
2 years?
Yeah, something like that.
yeah. That was so that was so sweet and so unexpected. He just like, what? And yeah, I was like, my goodness, they're channeling each other. It's like twins.
Yeah.
When Thaddeus walked in the room, his brother just had this smile on his face, like I'm the mouse that stole the cheese. You know, yeah, you're gonna love this.
That was
It's just
so
that same
cute.
spunky personality.
Yeah, they're gonna get along so well.
Mhm.
They're just gonna
They're probably going to be pranking each other constantly.
so fun. That was just such a
That was real sweet.
it was so sweet, and the tears and the just loving on each other, and I just loved how they pulled Karen in and come on in, mom, she says, and yeah, it was just sweet. That was one of the sweetest ones that they've had. I think most of his have all been sweet, but that was just amazing. I think that was an amazing.
But Karen has so much grace about her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She just comes in and she's so gracious and she gives people space. But if they pull her in, I think she's just easy for people to be around.
I think so too.
And when people thank her, she's not like, well, he's my son. You don't have to thank me for raising my son.
Yeah.
She's
Which is kind of, I know, which is probably what I would have, because you asked me once a couple of weeks ago how I would feel. And I'm like, I would probably be taken off guard. Well, I raised this person, but I think that with my adopted kids, but I think the point is that she's, like we had talked about, when they're thanking her for making sure he had a good life. Do you know what I mean? And so they don't have to worry.
And I think she was
anymore.
just recognizing the place it came from. And
exactly.
not worrying about all the accuracies and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
She's just valuing the sentiment that's coming and the heart that's behind it.
Absolutely. And I love that.
I think we could be friends.
I think we all could be friends. I think she could be friends with everybody. She's that kind of person. And so now you know why Thaddeus is the way he is because her values in him. Yeah. And I love that she said that he was her gift. She said that a couple of times, that he was a gift to her because she'd lost a child before. And so
that's how he got his name.
Yes. Yeah. So just a sweet story. And then we get to Team Black. I have to do blue last. I'm gonna do them last. Tia, I was so glad that Tia got to meet somebody again. So that's hard. How would you guys have felt? Stephen, how would you have felt of having to do the race with somebody that you really didn't know and it just met a few weeks ahead?
That would be tough.
Mm-hmm.
Because you were going through these very serious, intimate emotions, right?
Yeah.
And so it's both ways, right? It's on their side, it's on your side. And I feel like there would be like this awkwardness there, right?
Yeah.
I would be more reserved.
Yeah.
And they kind of got a little snippy on so did we. But but with directions, because it's stressful.
Yes. Of course it is. It's very stressful. Yeah.
We're doing good.
Yeah. Considering, the teams last season really seemed to bond pretty well together, especially Team Red. They
really
bonded
did
well. And so, we've talked about it a couple of times. We felt, well, maybe they're bonding because they can really understand what the other's going through. They can talk about those feelings and really understand what the other person is feeling. So, yeah. Go ahead, Laura.
But I felt very bad for Tia because I think she's said at the very beginning, she did have high hopes for kind of, and to find so many biological family members that have already passed.
Yes.
Yeah.
and she
Yes.
was definitely trying to take the optimistic road and
Yeah.
say, I am excited that,
Right.
but that has to be, that's got to be so crushing that
Exactly. So it was her maternal aunt, her mom's sister, that
uncle,
they met. And did you hear when they came out of the door, she said to her husband, was that her husband or was that Tia's uncle? Because they said your aunt and uncle, so I wasn't quite sure. I'm not quite sure
Yeah,
of the
not sure either.
relationship, but she did say to him, "We can do this." I thought that was really cute.
I heard that.
Yeah, I thought that was really cute. So, because
I think it's an aunt and an uncle, and they're not married.
Sure.
I think they're brother and sister.
Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, really?
Clear. I didn't understand. I wasn't clear. I don't think they
I
made
wasn't
that.
clear on it either. They did say
Mhm.
aunt and your uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I kind of felt like they were married, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
because I feel like maybe he
Yeah.
would have been talking a little bit
More. That could be. Yeah.
yeah,
Yes,
that's
you're
true.
probably right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That's kind of the vibe I got too, is that it
Yeah.
was husband and wife. But
Yeah. And maybe the reason she said we can do this is because they knew they had some bad news to give her.
Yeah, I
They
mean,
had-
her all those brothers, and
Yeah.
two are gone already, and then she found out her mom was gone too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I mean, like me too.
Mhm.
I'm in my 40s, and I was like, my adopted dad died when I was 20, in my 20s.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was, I had to prepare myself for, there's a possibility
Yeah.
that, one, if not both of my parents could be gone already.
Exactly.
know,
Exactly.
and-
And that's hard. And do they tell you that, just be prepared as you start the race?
No.
You have to figure that out yourself, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah. 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 I mean, I know they're not going to tell you that somebody has passed away, but
Right.
do they?
But no, I mean, just from watching the show and doing the research,
Mm.
it's and just, I mean, like I said, my adopted dad died when I was really young, so I'd already
Right.
experienced that. So I just,
Yeah.
I'm no spring chicken.
It was hard. The picture that they were able to show of her mom, though, man, she looked just like her.
Mhm.
Yeah, and that's the
If
first.
she had dark hair, she would look just like her mom.
Exactly like
Yeah.
the two pictures that they showed her, a younger version of her mom and then the older one, and she did look so sad, didn't she? Just like she was going through.
That's gonna be hard.
Yeah, she was going through something, and to find out that she had the three brothers who had been taken away and also adopted, it's like a light bulb kind of went off, in her mind, and she said, I wish. She's got some regrets about her adopted family. You can tell her adopted parents, and because I get the impression they've recently passed away, and so she wishes she could say
she
something.
said that like
to
2
them.
episodes ago.
Yeah, she wished she could say something, but she said, I wish that I could tell them I'm grateful that I was, because I think that helped her to understand she would not have been in a good place had she stayed with her biological mom. And so she understood that she needed to be taken away.
I think it was kind of one of those things where I don't think she realized how good she had it.
Maybe.
Because I think sometimes when we're in whatever situation, I think that what her thinking is that, she didn't think that she had it as good as what she did. And then finding out, it's kind of like, the grass is not always greener on the other side, or there's always someone else that has it worse than you do. And so, when you actually do find those things out, you kind of feel bad that maybe you hadn't appreciated as much.
Yeah, what you had. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. And we only see the little snippets of that. So we don't know the whole story.
So I mean, I kind of feel like hearing that her other 3 siblings were adopted out too, I think that would be kind of comforting in a sense.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Right. And as we get to Cantrell, I think that's part of his issue. Is as the reason why he's so upset, part of it seems to be that he's hearing a family story of, if there's a child that can't stay with his mother, somebody else in the family would take them.
Right.
And he's very bitter that and understandable, if that's what you're hearing, if that's the story you're getting, then it'd be natural to think, well, why didn't you keep me? What was so wrong with me that you didn't keep me? And I think that's part of his emotional journey and the hole that needs to be filled for him. And I
mean,
think that's
adoption can, a side effect of adoption could be, abandonment issues.
yes.
Just naturally, right?
Yes,
No fault to
exactly.
Yes.
anybody or the adopted parents.
Yeah.
It just comes naturally. And then to
Mhm.
hear that,
Yeah.
I could see. And when you're younger, stuff hits you a little harder. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah, when you're younger, things are more black and white.
Mhm.
There's less of the nuances and stuff. But are we now talking about Team Blue?
Yeah, let's.
It seems that way.
I think we're. Yeah, I think we've gotten into
Transitioned
into just, and you can tell in the car because they're always having these conversations on their way, because they don't know who they're going to meet, but he's always afraid. He's always talking about, I hope it's not my biological mother because I'm not ready for that yet. He's just not, he's always saying he's not ready. And so he's nervous about it.
Yeah, because when you have, you can feel physically rotten too when you have all these emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And they're on a timeline, and he knows he doesn't have, time to, and that might be his normal coping skill is, okay, I approach it slowly and I think it out kind of thing. And whatever skills you might have outside of relative race, they probably aren't going to work in relative race.
Yeah, he said that he likes to, just go in a room and have his alone space to cope with stuff and sort things out.
Yeah.
And
not so much on a TV show. No,
not when you're doing this every day for 10 days and you don't stop. It's,
Yeah. And even that downtime when, it's time to go to bed and go to sleep, that's no wonder he didn't want to get up.
So he met his grandmother.
Yes.
And you could see from she's so interesting because she basically said, I advised your mother, if you have any grudges, you can unleash them on me. I'm here to take it. I'm here to be honest with you.
Yes.
And she kind of gave him permission to let it all out.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give too many spoilers about their conversations, but she also made it clear that she was kind of advocating for her daughter because she wanted her daughter to have this relationship with him. Yes. But he did say a couple of things that I think those of us right here, we might not understand so much. He did talk about, it wasn't just that other people had been taken in. He didn't understand why he couldn't be in a family that looked like him. And I think that must make you feel, and I just wish he and Nolan had more time together.
They should be together right now.
Yeah, that must be so hard if you feel like the odd man out in other ways. And then there's the physical thing too. Yeah. That's got to be so hard.
I have to say,
find your self-worth.
Yeah, I have to say that, the grandmother, she just really touched my heart when she told him, and as a parent, I can see if you're a parent, us doing this, protecting your child, and that's what she was doing. She was protecting her child, her daughter. Yeah. But also, like Laura said, giving him permission, because I think she either already knew or could sense his anger or his emotions or something. And she's a wise woman. She's lived a lot of years, and so she knows. And so she was like, okay, you can lay it on me. I can take it.
Yeah.
I thought they were pretty similar.
Yeah.
Like they're almost like the same person. Like they're very cut and dry. Like, okay, you want to hash this out? Let's hash it out. Let's do this. And I'll just answer straightforward. And like they almost had the same way of dealing with stuff. In a way.
Yeah. You're absolutely right, because at one point he even said to her, I need you in my life. I need you. Yes. And then he said, but I'm not ready to be all in right this second.
Right.
Yeah. But then he said, I appreciate, and he just named all the things that he appreciated about what she was doing. So even while he was kind of lashing out, he was also doing the same thing she was doing about making it a safe place, that his grandmother didn't feel so, I don't know, rejected or what have you.
And the whole meeting, as when they first met, and she was saying, okay, take off your glasses. Yes, you've got her eyes and her face and her nose and all that I thought was wonderful, because that's what he wants to hear. That's what he wants to see. He wants to see people who look like him. And Stephen, I know you understand that.
The big deal. It's amazing to see for the first time. You automatically get the sense you belong.
Yeah. Absolutely. Did y'all catch the one line when she said that her daughter was pretty? Yeah. And he said, of course, I look like her.
Yes.
I thought that was great.
On top of her, all that she did, but there was a little bit of a point there where she was giving him some hard advice too. She was giving, my husband's grandmother was very straightforward, very cut and dry, very, she was going to tell you. And while she was trying to be nurturing, she also just told him, hey, look, this and this. And so, so I was like, oh, okay.
My family's been welcoming to you. Like,
all we've done is welcomed you and
look,
that's right.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, we came into this to meet you, and we show you nothing but love, and we want to love you.
Right. Right. Exactly. I know that he had a struggle too before they even went in the house. I was worried he wasn't even going to go in the house because he sat down on the ground. But she was telling him how they had made that choice to find an adopted family, and how they'd gone through and looked at all the profiles and all that, and then they had chosen somebody. And I know that
she even said handpicked.
So I think he took that to mean that his adopted family knew who his biological family is, but it doesn't usually work that way. So I don't think that they knew. I mean, they may have, and maybe they did not tell him the truth. I don't know. But in most cases that I've seen, when somebody's putting a baby up for adoption and they go through those files, they choose somebody, then the adoption agency takes the child from the biological family to the adopted family, and there is no meeting in between. And so,
like a buffer zone.
Yeah. And so I don't know that his adopted family knew who they were. They just knew that someone had chosen them as an adopted family. That's normally the way it works. And so I don't know if that, I mean, we don't need to have that explained. I mean, it's not any of our business, but I think that he might have taken that the wrong way, because that's when he sat down and said, everybody's been lying to me my whole life. And so
I was kind of surprised that they included that. If that's how he believes, but if it's not that way, I would hate for them to air that, and I hope it doesn't cause any problems with his family.
With his adopted family.
Yeah, once I was talking to a gentleman with the DNA Adoption Foundation, and he was telling me that a typical reaction for an adoptee, if they find out information is withheld, is always betrayal. That is the emotion.
Oh yeah.
And so even if it was withheld with love or with the best of intentions or what have you, he said that that's always something that has to be worked through and takes quite a while.
Oh, that.
Well, you can, and in a weird way, if you look at the teams, and not just this season, but if you look at the teams and you pay attention to the family members that tell them, we knew about you and we've been looking for you, as opposed to, we didn't know about you. It's amazing when you watch the emotions and the interaction, the differences.
Oh, yeah.
Which do you think is worse or better? Or
I don't know anything about adoption. I've never experienced that.
Yeah, that's a Stephen question, right?
Yeah,
that is a Stephen's question.
So hearing my dad tell me that he didn't know anything about me, that made me feel good inside.
Right? Because he didn't not come find you. He just,
like, I wasn't knowingly rejected.
Right.
Exactly. Right.
So there's no baggage between you.
Right. So I mean, so it's like a no fault kind of thing. Let's just pick up from here. Right.
Right.
So, And then, but then to say that people have been looking for you,
Yeah. Yeah.
but that's great for the heart too.
Oh, of course. Of course. Yeah. That somebody was out there that knew about you, that cared, you know, and it's not like people think it's so easy to be able to find people. It's not. Once you get that paperwork signed, those things are closed and you just can't, especially if it goes through social services. If it's through a foster care kind of thing, it's difficult to get that opened up and for people to find each other. And so, you know, I think people sometimes think, well, they must not have looked hard enough. And that's not the case. You know, you can't go knocking on the door and say, hey, I'm the grandmother. Where did you put my grandchild? It doesn't work that way. And so they can look and look and look, but usually it's the child that's got to, when they get old enough.
All that stuff's sealed. So
Oh yeah, it's all sealed. It's all sealed. Yeah, especially through that, you know, if it's through foster care, then it's harder, I think, than just a, you know, a regular adoption, you know what I mean, versus where, you know, somebody's 15 and gives the baby up for adoption. I think that's a little bit easier to
my
get
sister
through.
has an open adoption, right?
Yeah, we've talked about that, about Nolan's sister having, she's talked about it a couple of times on the show about having an open adoption.
Yeah. So, and I think that's great that this little boy looks to Nolan as his hero because they're both adopted. You know, I think that's so sweet that they've got that, you know, in common.
But Cantrell did find out something about his father.
Yeah.
That we haven't
Found
talked
out
about
his
yet.
name.
Oh,
Yeah.
they just blew right through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said that he had died in a car wreck.
Kept rolling.
Yeah, and they just kept going, and we're like, wait a second, what?
Yeah.
What's
Oh,
going on?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a huge bombshell. When you're trying to process all this other stuff, and then just to hear that, and then just to keep going, not miss a beat in your sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because his grandmother told him, he asked her, do you know my father's name? And she told him the name, and then she proceeded to tell him what had happened to him. And I could see why, you know, but that last statement of the show,
you mean Cantrell, not
not Cantrell.
Yeah,
Cantrell.
Yeah.
But the last thing that was said before the show closed was, I don't know if I can take much more than this. By him. And I can see why.
Yeah. He did seem to be
that
better.
would take you off your feet.
Oh yeah. But you're right. But you're absolutely right. It just kept like she said it and then wait a second. What? What did you say? Yeah. That was tough. That was tough. And maybe he wasn't ready to process that. And we don't know what got edited out. And
really young.
Yeah. That must have been very, very difficult. He seemed to be better during the results. And I said last night while live tweeting, it's so much fun to live tweet, but I've told these guys before, you know, we're right at this emotional moment, and then all of a sudden, you know, we see the office, and we see Dan, and I'm like, no, we need like a little commercial break or just a slide that comes out that goes, okay, deep breath, we're gonna process all your emotions, wipe away your tears, we're now going into results, you know, just to give us, because it's like, boom, we're going, what, oh my gosh, these poor people, and then boom, we're at results, you know.
But
that's what it's like when you're there.
That's exactly what it's like. You don't have time.
Yeah. So now we know, okay, people, all you viewers, now we get a sense.
But I thought it was interesting. I thought Dan really we had talked last week about why the show doesn't just have happy stories, etc. And Dan kind of addressed that when he was talking to Cantrell. He was saying, some days are hard.
Yeah.
And that's life.
Are hard. Yeah, and some answers are hard. Yeah.
He said some more. I can't remember all that he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's just answers. You know, I mean, life is that way. Life is good. Life is bad. Life is easy. Life is hard. I mean, and these are all real emotions that everybody's going through, and you're stressed out to the max. You're racing, and you know, honestly, you make it through this thing. You're exhausted, and you are a strong person, because that is a lot of emotion to go through in a short period of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. And we've asked before, I mean, there's no therapists on the show. There's nobody there at the end of the day that you can talk to and and work things out. Luckily for you, you had Susan, you could, bounce bounce ideas off and things like that, and get that emotional support that you needed, right? So yeah. So, but other than that, there's nobody on set. There's nobody to help anybody work through anything other
How
than
much, I want to ask Steve, how much do the camera crews and stuff, are those people someone you can lean on or talk to, or?
Yeah, our crew was super good. I mean, so we had two Justins on our camera crew, and Big Justin, he always made sure to like give us the moment, or he's like, dude, we got you, man. He was always super supportive, and hey, do you need a minute? And
That's good.
Everybody was like that.
Yeah, I mean, like they cried behind the cameras, like they're
bless them.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, our Stephanie, she was our producer. She was super good about it all too, except for in the morning before coffee.
Well, who's good in the morning before coffee?
That's funny. That's funny. Well, that's good to know. I mean, it's good to know that you and like I'd said before, you become a little family because you see each other. You're stuck with each other that whole time, and they are witnessing those emotional moments because they don't know what's going to happen. They know who you're meeting. I'm sure that they know who you're meeting, but they don't know how that meeting is going to go.
Right.
Yeah. You
So
can't.
Stephen, like, so as you're driving along in the car and y'all are having conversations, are they in a car where they're just listening to your every word, or is their film going somewhere else for someone to edit?
No, they're listening.
And they can see us and hear us.
Yeah.
So
they got to make sure you're not doing anything wrong.
The rear view mirror, that's the crew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see him every once in a while.
Yeah.
So do you ever like say, do you ever go like hold up your Snickers bar and say, wow, this is really good. I wish
There was a couple of times where Susan's like, hey, you're being recorded. And I was like, oh, I forgot.
They'll be like, we heard that.
Yeah, they'll click on the radio. Hey, we heard that.
Make sure that gets edited out. Oh gosh, too funny. Too funny. Well, I guess since we were talking about, is there anything else anybody wanted to say about any of the meetings before we go on to results? Anything that y'all thought of that you might want to talk about? Did you take notes? Did you guys take notes like we do? I can tell. So what did we miss? Yeah, say I've got pages full. What did we miss? What else should we have talked about?
I don't think anything. I'd have who everybody met and no, I think we've covered everything I took notes of.
Yeah, I see it. Looks like we covered it.
I love it. I love that you guys have notes. I love that so much. I love it. So yeah, let's go to results. Boy, were we all worried because Team Black already had 2 strikes. I mean, yeah, I was like, I am not ready.
They timed out at the challenge.
Right.
I was worried.
They timed out, and so did Team Green. Yeah, but I was really worried about Team Black because they were in danger of getting that 3rd strike, and whoever came in first gets, it's so funny how they keep saying it this year, gets to penalize everybody at the next stage challenge. They're not penalizing anybody, the show's doing it. But
you can say it one way, 2 ways, right? It's benefit to the team that won.
Exactly. That's
also
penalizing the others. It's the same thing, and I wonder if it's because in past seasons people will just get so upset when a
don't like it. The fans don't like it.
The fans do not like it, and so I'm wondering.
No, they don't.
It's a race as well.
Exactly. I think people forget that they just want to skip that, and they just want to, and they get so upset. They get so upset. And I know I want to say this before we move on. There were some things said for people getting upset with Cantrell about his reaction in some of the social media. And, I just want to say, you're not in that situation. You have no idea how you would react in a situation like that, and And by the time he got to most of the clips that they showed, he was okay. He was okay at that point.
Yeah. And they ended on a good note too.
Yeah, they ended on a great note.
He got a little overwhelmed by his emotions, and I mean, he's young and super stressed out and dealing with all kinds of crazy stuff. Got some really hard news.
Yeah, he's a human being. I mean, it's like I think sometimes. Go ahead, Laura.
I think you're trying to build a relationship. You've got to be honest at some point. You can't pretend. I mean, it's going to come out. I mean, I know I've done it before. I've tried to put on the happy face, and then I ended up crying in the grocery store.
Yeah, Laura, you're cutting out just a little bit.
So you just have to be a little bit honest.
Yeah, Jack Daniels has kicked in.
Oh, she's gonna come after you, Dan.
that was. I'll send a little note.
You just send Dan that little note. But it's just he seemed to be okay. He seemed to be okay as they
and his grandma did a good job handling that.
I think
she welcomed it too. She said, anything that you feel, give it to me. So maybe he felt a little more open to kind of let it out a little. And exactly. If you have some anger and resentment and it's being
bring it on. Let's deal with it. Exactly. Absolutely. Exactly.
Well, I dare anybody that goes through this process, which are a limited amount of people when you look at the seasons and how many teams they've had, to not have it affect you like this has affected a lot of these people. And so we just don't know unless we're in their shoes.
Exactly. And people can get real judgmental, and you're like, wait a second. Don't let's be supportive.
Absolutely.
Let's be supportive. So he was so cute when he introduced his grandma, and like, I don't want to be called grandma. We got to come up with another name. So
I found that interesting because I didn't catch it, but is she not a grandma?
I don't know.
Or I don't know. Maybe I
don't know. Maybe not.
I thought, maybe is this her only grandchild? Is that why she doesn't?
That's kind of the feeling I got.
Yeah, could be. She's like, I'm not ready for that name yet. I'm not ready. I wasn't, and so my grandkids don't call me grandma either.
What do they call you?
They call me Mama Cheri. Except for I've got one group that the oldest boy couldn't say Mama Cheri, so he was calling me Shimmy, and so that whole set of grandkids calls me Shimmy still, and their cousins call me Shimmy. Their cousins on the other side that aren't my grandkids, they call me Shimmy. Anyway, so I kind of understand that. Sometimes you're like, I'm not ready for grandma title. So, but I thought that was really cute, and he seemed to be fine during that conversation. So that made me feel better that he seemed to be fine during that conversation. And but by the time Dan was done talking to them and they'd all introduced all their relatives, they were all in tears. They were all in tears. That was an emotional meetup. So
Chantel didn't mention the fact that he got bad news about his dad.
Right, he didn't.
They were talking to, what was it, Tia? Mainly.
About her biological mom and her brothers and how they'd passed away, and so hard because she's not going to get to meet either of her parents, because they both passed, siblings. So let's hope she'll get to meet that brother before the end of the race. I think that will be important for her, is to be able to meet him and get that support and find out more about their mother. I mean, I'm sure that maybe they know something, but maybe not. I mean, they might be just as clueless. We don't know how much they were told since they were adopted. So
right.
But that was a real emotional time for them to be introducing people, but everybody was real happy. That is his brother. I mean, they're all like, what? That was really cute. That was really, really cute. So, but let's talk about results. Who would like to tell us? Because we're drum rolling and we're scared for Team Black. So, Susan, tell us results. You took notes.
I mean, do you want first place?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
So red team.
Yay, red team.
Yay.
They were surprised too.
They were surprised
got
too.
first.
They were really surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were very, very surprised last week, and then they're like, again, woo!
Yep. And then we had blue team.
Yeah.
That was good. After what they've been through that day, I was glad to see them get.
Yeah, exactly.
Some relief.
Yeah, and so then I'm real nervous because we've got Team Black has not placed anywhere yet, so I'm getting really nervous because as much as we like to have you all come on the show, I'm not ready yet for anybody to get there. Third strike, and
Not yet.
2 strikes, right? So
right.
Yeah, and they were only four minutes apart, I believe.
Yeah, it was very, very close. Yeah, very, very
Something
close.
like that. Yeah.
So yeah, then Black came in third.
Thank goodness.
Mhm.
Yep.
Thank goodness.
And then Green gets her second strike.
Gets their second strike. So we go into day 7 again. We've got 2 teams that could go home. So I'm worried about that.
Stressful place to be.
Yeah, it's a very stressful place to be. Yeah, especially when, I mean, everybody's got more people they want to meet, right? Of course, they want to get to day 10. I mean, everybody wants to get to day 10, but
no, you want to meet all your family, right? First.
Exactly, and then day 10, exactly. So, but anyway, gosh, I don't know if we can handle another emotional.
I think there's going to be one big one.
Yeah, I do too. I do too. Gosh,
it's been an emotional season. I mean, they're all emotional, but this one seems has some extra emotions to it.
Yeah, exactly. I think so too. What are you guys laughing at? What's going on over there?
Our kid yelled, "Mom, Dad!" So he's all.
It's okay. We don't care. We told you that before. We don't care. We've had fans' kids come on and visit us. We've had other people's kids.
Sometimes they're dressed.
So really, it's no big deal. We really don't care. And I've seen your dog walking around. That's been really cool.
Yeah.
So fun.
I thought that was one of the kids a minute ago. I was like, shh. Oh, it's the dog.
It's the dog. Hey, it's GenFriends. We are friends here. It's okay.
I think there's going to be one, when Cantrell.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's going to meet his mom.
I think so too. This has been too much of a buildup. I think that they would have let him know by now that that's not going to happen. And so, yeah, I hope that he. Well, I hope we get to see it on camp. Well, no, do we? I mean, I don't want them to get that strike, but I would really, really love to see, as someone who really is hoping for good things for him, to see that come to pass and see them bond and see him have every question answered in that whole field, and just that relief. That's what I wish for him, is that.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that he and I want to see it happen, so I don't worry about him, because I'm going to worry about him if we don't see it happen, right? So I'm going to worry about him. So, but I think with meeting this grandma, she's going to take care of it. And I'm sorry to call you grandma. And her name was Beverly, I think. Was it Beverly? I am sorry to call you grandma, but I don't know what else to call you. So anyway.
Mom's mom.
Mom's mom. Mom's mom. Yeah, mom's mom. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. We are so grateful that you came on to talk with us tonight, because it's nice to hear from you, especially. I'm so grateful you were here tonight to talk about day 6, because it was so emotional, and to hear you talk about how hard it is, and the understanding of what's going on with these teams. So it's always nice to have somebody who can explain, because we're all in different positions in our lives, and we've all had different experiences, but you're unique with, as Melissa said, with not that many others who have done this race and understand what it's like. And so we are grateful for you coming on, and for both of you to come. I'm glad. I was so glad to see Susan took notes, because I'm like, yes, she took notes. That's great. That's fabulous.
It's our pleasure to be on. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime. You know that. You've got the link now. Just hop on. Anytime you're home, just pop in and say, I'm here. I want to talk about this show. You're always welcome. You're always, always welcome. We love having you on. We loved your season. We love the fact that you would watch GenFriends and answer our questions. It was so much fun. We loved that. And I'd come back on and said, well, I would send them Facebook messages. Steven says, blah, 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 blah. So we really appreciated you doing that. We appreciate you both being on here tonight. So I can't believe that we're going into day 7. The season
already.
Is really, really fast. Yeah, really fast. I think we're all so invested that it's like, it's almost over. So anyway, thank you so much. And thanks for this wonderful panel for being here tonight. I appreciate it. Thanks to people who watch and your comments that you leave, and ask whatever questions you want, and we can send them on to Stephen and Susan as well. If you would like to ask them some questions, that would be great. And we will see you next time for day 7 on GenFriends. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.